Unafraid show. It's your boy George Wrighster in the building per the usual. You guys make sure that you send in all your comments. I will try to get to as many of them as possible. We're going to do a nice little wrap up of everything that happened today in college football specifically. So we're going to hit all the big games. We're going to hit the Pac-12 and the Oregon Ducks in particular. I know it's late on the East Coast, starting to get late on the West Coast, but thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate your time, appreciate your energy. So first things first. These damn schedules, these college football schedules are absolutely atrocious. I mean, the fact that ESPN was playing Georgia versus Austin Peay in week 1 on not ESPNU, not the SEC network, but on actual ESPN, they were playing Austin Peay and Georgia. I mean, like it's absolutely frustrating as a college football fan in week 1. I mean, like you had all summer. Like, why are we watching these games? I mean, like I can't be the only person that thinks this. Wisconsin's playing Western Kentucky. I don't even mind that one so much. Michigan State played Utah State, whatever. Stanford, San Diego State. But here is where it gets bad. We got Clemson, number 2 team in the country in the preseason poll, playing Furman. Georgia playing Austin Peay. We got Oklahoma playing Florida Atlantic. Penn State playing Appalachian State, but at least Appalachian State's beat some people. TCU playing Southern. Mississippi State playing Stephen F. Austin. I mean, come on, like what are we doing here? Like, what are the fans like? At what point in time are fans? Are we? I mean, me, you, and everybody else going to decide that we demand better? Because this is absolutely, like, it's just awful what we're getting right now. And they're trying to tell us that this is great TV. But anyways, I digress. This is just the truth. So the one thing that I want to point out today in terms of the schedules and all of that, well, not only the schedules, but just teams, Alabama with Tua Tagovailoa looks unstoppable. This is the first time that Nick Saban has ever had a quarterback, a real live quarterback. And with their defense, with all their running backs, all their stuff, I don't know if they can be beat. I mean, with Tua Tagovailoa in the fold, I don't know if it can possibly happen. So that's the first thing. I mean, it's almost like Alabama's cheating, like they got a cheat code with Tua Tagovailoa. Oregon fans, I know that you wish he was in uniform, but we got Justin Herbert. It's fine. Like, everybody will be okay. But the reality of the situation is that Alabama's really good. Ordinarily, I'm the guy who picks against Alabama every now and then because I'm like, all right, yeah, like it's got to stop somewhere. They have to lose at some point in time. But it ain't today. It is probably not going to happen this season, especially with their schedule. So that's number 1. Yeah, and we are going to get to USC. And I am concerned about USC. They did not look great against UNLV. They're replacing their new quarterback. They're replacing new running back, all these things. But I'm not sold on them at this point in time. But here is where we will get started. We'll get started on the biggest game of the day, which was Auburn and Washington. We're going to get with Auburn and Washington. And here's what I have to say about this Auburn and Washington game. Washington literally wet the bed. They had every opportunity to win this game. Every opportunity. And it said more about Washington than it did about Auburn. Because if you read the article I wrote about the Pac-12, about who was going to win the Pac-12 and all that, I said Washington's Achilles heel was going to be Jake Browning. Jake Browning, he does not play well versus good defenses. He just does not. Like, this is a consistent theme throughout Jake Browning's career at Washington. He puts up gaudy numbers against bad defenses, and then when good defenses come around, he just folds up. The rest of Washington's team actually played really well. Their defense performed admirably. They only gave up, what, like 19 points? I mean, come on, man. Like you have to be able to, I mean, Browning, time after time. He's a senior quarterback. That first interception he threw, oh my God, it was awful. And do you know what made me hate Washington even more than I already hate the Fuskies? Because I can be objective about them, but it's the truth. Today, they made me dislike them even more. And the reason why is because everybody knows I'm an Oregon Duck. But I try to be objective as possible in ranking teams and all of this. But I actually was rooting for Washington today. I got all icky, like my clothes felt terrible, like I was shaking and trembling, like I was betraying everything I knew in life. And then they go and wet the bed. Oh, I was like, oh, hell no, this will never happen again. This will never happen again. Oregon fans tweeting me, they're like, what the hell is wrong with you? But this is exactly why I picked Washington not to win the Pac-12. The media said Washington was going to win the Pac-12. I said absolutely not. It's either going to be Stanford or it's going to be Oregon winning the North. Because Washington's Achilles heel, despite how good their defense is, despite Myles Gaskin at running back, they got the receiver number 21 who's catching the ball all over the place. They do not have a big game quarterback. And it takes big game quarterbacks to win. So Washington has zero chance of winning the national championship. So get it out of your mind. Get it out of your head. It's not happening. Unless Jake Browning gets a body transplant. Tomorrow, somebody keeps asking about Virginia Tech over Florida State. I got Virginia Tech. It's not that I have necessarily Virginia Tech over Florida State. Florida State's just favored by 7.5 points. So Florida State can win the game and I still win my college football pick. So that's the way that works. So Florida State can win, but I don't necessarily know if they're going to win. And it is just so frustrating. The reason why I was rooting for Washington today is because it's so frustrating to hear time and time again, like, oh, the SEC, the whole conference, they can't be beat. And I'm sitting there like, there's no truth to that. Like, where's the truth in that? It's not. But when you consistently play home games against other conferences, which is essentially what they're doing. Washington played a home game. Auburn played a home game essentially against Washington. It was a home game. They played in Georgia. 40,000 Auburn fans, 7,000 Washington fans. That's not a neutral site game. That is a home game. So you have all these SEC homers and you got ESPN propping it up and everybody else. Oh, they can't be beat. Well, shit, they won't travel, first of all. And the second thing is, like, it's a situation to where there aren't very many opportunities. There aren't very many opportunities. Let me give you some actual schedule facts. There are 11 Big Ten teams that play at least 10 Power 5 teams. At least 10. 3 of them play 11 Power 5 teams out of their 12 games. The Big 12 has 9. And the Pac-12 has 10. ACC, 5. Notre Dame, 10. Do you know how many SEC teams play at least 10 Power 5 teams in their 12 games? A donut, bro. 0. So how on earth am I supposed to believe that this is some like magical conference if you won't play anybody? I mean, it's frustrating. It's just frustrating. And then you have Washington just laying egg. I mean, just embarrassing. And I've said it all along. Jake Browning is not the guy. And they made me feel dirty today with how they did this. I didn't like it. It was gross. And I totally 100% regret rooting for Washington today. It will never happen again. I promise you that. Michigan. I picked Michigan to beat Notre Dame today for two reasons. One, I don't believe in Notre Dame because Notre Dame is fool's gold. Guys, I know they beat Michigan today, but I'm telling you they are fool's gold. I promise you. They are a decent team, but they don't have a quarterback. Brandon Wimbush is not a good quarterback. Like, he's a guy, but he's not a good quarterback. And when you look at what you need to win a championship, because people think that Notre Dame is a team that could make the college football playoffs. They're not going to make the college football playoffs because of their quarterback. He's not a guy who can go and throw the ball and win games. And you have to be able to throw the ball if you want to win championships. Mark Greiner, he said, I trusted you when they said the Beavs would cover this spread. The Beavs would have covered the spread had their quarterback not got hurt. You know, I can't control that. But to go back to Michigan, though, I believed in Jim Harbaugh that this would be finally the year that he gets things turned around and does something different at Michigan. I thought that this would be the year. I thought it would be, but it's not. It's clearly not. Not any way, shape, form, or fashion is Michigan anything special because of their offense. Their defense seems to be playing pretty decent. They do every year. They got the transfer they wanted, Shea Patterson. We finally got our quarterback. But I'm really starting to believe that Jim Harbaugh's offensive style is just not conducive to winning championships. That is just not. I mean, he's getting the recruits. He's got young guys, old guys. I mean, he was too young 2 years ago. Last year, he was young again. Like, this was supposed to be the year. And they go out and cannot score points. Same problem last year. You can't score points, you cannot win. And that's where Michigan is suffering. So, anybody that thought Michigan was going to win the Big Ten, get that out your mind. Not happening. Same way Washington's not winning the Pac-12. I'm sorry, people. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the truth is the truth. And Jim Harbaugh, because Michigan fans, the act is wearing thin. The act is wearing real thin in Ann Arbor. I'll tell you that. And he won't be around for very long unless he just shows up big time. In a few minutes, I'm going to tell you guys my top 10 right now, but it may change tomorrow depending on what happens with the Florida State Virginia Tech game, how that goes. But also, Chip Kelly at UCLA. I was at the UCLA game today. Oh, man, I was excited to see how Chip Kelly was going to do, see how excited the UCLA fans were, and they are what I thought they were. It's amazing the fact that they recruited so well with Jim Mora. And then in recruiting rankings. But then they are just short on talent. I mean, it is clear. Like, at so many positions, they are just lacking. Like, they are just lacking at so many spots. And it's unfortunate, but Chip Kelly, it's going to take him a while. So, UCLA fans, you better just hold on tight, because this is going to be a long season after you lose to Cincinnati. But the Pac-12 as a whole, though, the Arizona game is still going on right now. The last time I checked, they were down 21-10. Is that still the case with Arizona? Down 21-10 to BYU. And I don't understand at all. It's almost like Arizona overreacted to Khalil Tate's tweet about, I didn't come here to run the triple option. It was like that they overreacted to that tweet because at the middle of the third quarter, he only had like 6 carries. And that's the best thing he does is run the football. So why are you not throwing the ball? Why are you not having him run the football? It makes no sense. I mean, like, I couldn't find any reason why you would have Khalil Tate and not have him running the football, aside from the fact that you're letting him control how you're going to play football. Does anybody have any questions? If so, send them in. Well, that's what bad quarterbacks do. They just chunk the ball up deep. If they get one-on-one coverage, hope something great happens. Hope they get a pass interference. Hope somebody makes a ridiculous catch. Send in your questions, and I'll get to my top 10 as it stands right now. There will be an article about the top 10 tomorrow night, so you can check it out on unafraidshow.com. But here is what the preliminary as what we're looking right now. Because, mind you, on the Unafraid Show top 10, we do not just give you rankings just because. No, you actually have to play somebody to be ranked highly in the Unafraid Show top 10. Number 1, I got Bama. It's not their fault Louisville sucks this year, but they are still playing. They still dominated. They played well. Tua Tagovailoa looked awesome. Defense looked awesome. And they actually played somebody. They can't help that somebody was bad. So, Alabama, still number 1, national champion. Got to knock them off. Number 2, Ohio State. No, we don't like Ohio State right now, but they looked awesome today against Oregon State. Oregon State moved the ball on them a little bit too much, but I think that they're much improved with Jonathan Smith. So I got to give Ohio State number 2. Notre Dame number 3. That's where I'm looking at right now because they played Michigan. Name brand team, college football, blue blood, a team that has talent, expected to be pretty decent this year. So that's where we got. Yes, Herbert does look like an NFL top pick. He looks good. It was a couple times today his receivers kind of let him down, but it is what it is. I got Auburn number 4. Got Auburn number 4, despite the fact that this is a game that they absolutely should have lost to Washington. I mean, under no circumstances should Washington have lost this game. Eric Story, who was that somebody that Alabama played? They played Louisville today. And then we got West Virginia at 5. West Virginia played Tennessee. Tennessee's not good, but they are still an SEC team. It's not like they played Austin Peay. They didn't play Southern or, nobody state. So you drown an SEC team, you drown an ACC team, same way Ohio State did Oregon State. I'm going to give you credit. I'm going to give you credit for that. Next team up, Wisconsin. Wisconsin sitting at the 6th seat, at the 6th spot. The reason why I got Oklahoma so low, despite everybody saying, "Oh, Kyler Murray, he should be winning the Heisman now," this and that. Bruh, did you see the game? They played Florida Atlantic. For Florida Atlantic to get recruits, that means that Miami picked them from Florida. Miami picked them off already. Florida picked them off already. Florida State picked them off already. Other big teams had already picked them off already. Central Florida picked them off already. I mean, it's like 8 to 10 teams already picked off the best talent, and then you get down to FAU. So what did you think was going to happen? So it's not the fact that I'm not giving them credit. It just is what it is. Sorry, that was Wisconsin. I said Wisconsin was at 6. And Wisconsin played today Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky's not a terrible team. Like, they've done really well. They've won their conference. They've won Conference USA recently. This is a non-competitive game, but at least it could be a lot worse. So that's why they're at number 6. I got Miami at 7, despite Miami not having played yet, but I do expect them to beat LSU tomorrow. Clemson at number 8. Why is Clemson at number 8, George, when they're the number 2 team in the country? They played Furman. Furman's quarterback is taking classes at Clemson. And you think I'm going to give you a lot of credit for beating Clemson? I'm sorry, for beating Furman 48-7? No, bro. Like, at some point in time, we have to stop giving these teams credit for doing what they're supposed to do. You are supposed to beat terrible teams. You are supposed to absolutely dominate and boat race them. You should. How about this? Schedule better. If you schedule better, we won't even have this problem. There's nothing to talk about. And then Oklahoma, number 9. They played FAU. Actually, I might put them in front of Clemson. And then number 10, I got Georgia. Yes, Georgia. Because there's absolutely no Georgia's at number 10 because we had to watch them play Austin Peay. Why on earth is Georgia playing Austin Peay at all? I know that Austin Peay needs money. But why do I have to watch that game on television? That game should be for, like, if you have the Georgia Sports Network. Like, that's the only way that you should be able to watch that football game. The only way you should be able to watch that football game. And especially not in week 1. Like, college football is supposed to start off with a bang. Like, supposed to start off with great games. But these teams are just awful. I mean, and when you look at Georgia's schedule. So they played Austin Peay today. Next week they play a conference game, South Carolina. Their other non-conference games are Middle Tennessee State, UMass, and Georgia Tech. I mean, how can you? I mean, so, and then they don't play Alabama. So if you think about it, Georgia is they're a very talented team. Went to the national championship last year. Like, they are built with enough athletes and talent to assume that they are a quality football team. And they're well coached. But when you look at their schedule and how many competitive games that they're going to have, South Carolina, kind of competitive. LSU should be kind of competitive. Maybe Florida and Auburn. 4 competitive games throughout the entire season? 4 out of 12? I mean, come on, man. Like what are we supposed to make out of this when it's time to have the college football playoff? What are we supposed to make out of it? Oh, they dominated everybody. They're supposed to. They played nobody except Auburn. I mean, geez Louise. Like, what do we have to do as college football fans to get better? Let me see if I missed any points today. I don't see any way that, I mean, that, just to go back to the Washington and Auburn game today, that was just awful. I mean, like, that was just awful to watch from the Washington perspective, from the Pac-12 perspective, because they had so many opportunities inside the red zone. Well, not even just the red zone, inside the 10 multiple times, and they just did not get it done. And that's just not going to work. If you guys have any questions, send them in before I hop off. And you will have a whole bunch of stuff up on unafraidshow.com starting tomorrow night. We're going to keep it popping, keep it real with you during college football season, because this is the place where you can come and get honest conversation, stuff that's real, and stuff that you want to talk about. Any questions that you have, also send them to unafraidshow@gmail.com. Anybody that's ever emailed me about it, emailed us, the rest of the writers as well. We do get back to you. We thank you guys for your time and your energy. Appreciate it. Yeah, and always appreciate your support. And to the lady I saw at the UCLA game today, who recognized, first time ever in my whole life, that somebody was like, not I recognize you from TV, not I recognize you from playing with the Ducks, not in the NFL. No, I follow you on Twitter. She was like, hey yo, you're George. I was like, okay, I know, but who are you? She was like, oh, no, I follow you on Twitter. I was like, okay, cool. First time ever, man. I was like, damn, man, I might be doing something right now out here with the Unafraid Show. But you guys, thank you guys again. Appreciate it. Catch you guys later on if I can ever get this feed off. Jeez. Okay. See, these are like first world problems. I'm trying to sign off from Periscope, Periscope, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, all these places, and my computer just won't let me be great right now. I just got so much awesomeness going on all these tabs I got open that it's just not happening. Oh, but my picks today, oh God, dude, I apologize if anybody bet, but we will do better next week. They throw me off with these first game schedules. It's damn near impossible to get these things 100% right. It just is, because some of these teams are